Hi, and welcome to the Honours course, Life Science for Educators. In this video, I'm just going to provide brief guidance on how to prepare for the first seminar task on cell compartmentalisation. So these guidelines should not only help the presenter, but also give you some guidance as to what to expect from the seminar task. Okay, so seminar task 1 deals with compartmentalisation in cells. So what you need to do is, with the aid of examples, so in other words, examples about cell compartments, you need to explain why eukaryotic cells are divided into compartments. And then think of an analogy you could use with grade 10 learners. So the textbook is Campbell Biology 10th edition. Now, I've found from an online library this book, and I've loaded the PDF onto Ulwazi for you. So make sure you use the textbook. It must be your main source of information. Build your presentation from the textbook, and make sure you check the topic against the concepts in the textbook, and ensure that you cover all aspects in the seminar task. So just a reminder, this is giving examples. So as I've shown here, you need to firstly explain why eukaryotic cells have internal membranes that compartmentalize their functions. Now, included in that, you need to give examples. So, for example, the nucleus as the information control center is separated from the ribosomes and the protein, which are the protein factories. The endomembrane system then has various organelles, and the analogy, this is from Biology for You, compares the cell to a factory. This analogy is available on YouTube on the site Biology Exams for You.
Hi friends, welcome to biologyexamstory.com. Today the topic of our discussion is cell analogy, example cell compared to a factory. So this is a structure of an animal cell. There is cell wall in the case of plant cell, which is made up of cellulose, and it can be considered as a surrounding wall of the factory, which will prevent the intruder's entry and offers protection to the entire structure. In the case of animal cell, the outermost boundary is the cell membrane or plasma membrane. Cell wall is absent. Cell membrane is different from cell wall as it can be considered as a guarded gate. It is selectively permeable, allowing only certain members or certain molecules to pass through. So it can be considered as a guarded gate where the person's credentials are checked and allow or deny the entry of persons into the factory. Then next is a floor, that is a cytoplasm. Cytoplasm can be considered as the entire premise or area of the factory where all the activities of the factory takes place. In this case of cell, cytoplasm is the region where all the organelles are present. Then there comes the nucleus, the controlling center of the cell. Nucleus can be considered as MD's or CEO's cabin where all the decisions are made, where all the instructions are stored for the smooth running of the factory. In the case of cell, nucleus is a site of storage of genetic material DNA. All the instructions for the making of all proteins that is required for the cell is residing inside the nucleus as coded as DNA. Next, close to the nucleus is the RAR or rough endoplasmic reticulum. It can be considered as a center that is close to MD's cabin where products are made or proteins are made using nanomachines called ribosomes. It is called as rough because it is studded with ribosomes. Ribosomes are protein synthesizing machines. So it is a site where products are made and polished. Further modification also takes place in RAR. Next comes the Golgi apparatus. Golgi apparatus is a sorting center of the cell. Once the products are made, it should be dispatched to the correct locations. The addressing process takes place in Golgi apparatus. Next comes the vesicles that is pinched off from Golgi apparatus. Vesicles can be compared to as packets containing products addressed at Golgi apparatus. So the products are made in RAR, it is further modified and it reaches Golgi apparatus. In Golgi apparatus, it is properly addressed. These proteins may be required in nucleus, may be required outside, maybe in mitochondrion, maybe in lysosome, etc. So this should be properly addressed, or chemical tags are given, and these are packaged inside vesicles and dispatched. Next comes the mitochondrion. It is the organelle that is responsible for providing all energy that is required for carrying out all activities inside the cell. It can be compared to an electricity generator of a factory or powerhouse of a factory where electricity or energy that is required for all activities inside the factory is generated. Next comes the lysosome. As a part of all these activities, numerous waste products are produced and this should be disposed properly. There comes the role of lysosome. It can be considered as an incinerator where digestive enzymes are present which will degrade and dispose or recycle the waste materials that is produced as a result of metabolic activities that takes place inside the cell. And finally, in the case of plant cell, there is a kitchen or canteen where food is synthesized and it can be called as chloroplast. Chloroplast is present only in plants, the only organelle which is capable of converting light energy to glucose or food. So that there is a kitchen inside plant cell where food is made. All organisms in the universe is directly or indirectly dependent on plants for their survival. So this is a summary of comparison of cell as a factory. Cell wall in the case of plant cell can be compared as a surrounding outer boundary wall. Cell membrane can be compared to guarded gate where guards will check and allow certain members to pass through. Cytoplasm is the entire area of the factory, whereas nucleus is the MD's office or chief executive officer's office where all instructions or decision making center. RER is the site where products or proteins are made and further modified, whereas Golgi apparatus is the site all these proteins are properly addressed, sorted and dispatched. And dispatching method is by using vesicles or small packets that is properly addressed at Golgi apparatus. Mitochondrion is a site where energy is produced or ATP is synthesized for all activities of the cell. Lysosome is a waste disposal site. It can be called as an incinerator. In the case of plants, there is a kitchen or food producing center that is a chloroplast where photosynthesis takes place, where light energy is converted to glucose and that is used by all organisms in the universe. Hope things are clear. Thank you so much for watching. You are with biologyexamstory.com.
Now, analogies are very useful in teaching, especially when you're dealing with things that are too small for students to see. So the factory analogy is quite a useful tool for teaching cell compartmentalisation. As additional support in understanding the importance and how you can use analogies in teaching, please look out for the additional video on using analogies in teaching. So until next time, this is the Opinionated Science Educator, and I will see you all in the session later today. So until next time, goodbye.